Good day, everybody. It is Calxiyn here, and if you guys enjoyed this video, remember to subscribe for more anime videos. I think that this is probably going to be a little bit of a different video. I was not happy with how Neverland went last week. I know that's a very common sentiment, but with the show as a whole, but really, last week was like the turning point for me. And so I'm just going to give you guys fair warning that I feel like that this will probably be, and then the one after this will probably be like rant videos. They won't be a reaction and analysis videos. It's going to be reaction and rant video, because I feel like at this point I'm just so into it. Like I've, covered this season for about 2 months now almost, right? We're at episode 10. That's like 8 weeks of my life. And so I feel like that at this point, even though it's probably not going to be worth doing an analysis anymore, I feel like that I just can't look away. Like it's a slow motion train wreck, and I just want to see how it ends. And so I feel like that this is definitely going to be a different video. Probably not going to be as analytical as something like Attack on Titan, for example, but I feel like that I just want to know. Like, I just need to know how all of this ends, and so that's why I'm here. I just want to see how it all ends, and I just want to see where the show goes, because I feel like that the show is going to abandon a lot of the themes in the very end. Like, I feel like that all the stuff we sort of analyzed and talked about isn't really going to matter in a lot of ways, because they just seem to be rushing to the end, and I feel like that there is no season 3. I genuinely feel like these last 2 episodes will be the actual ending of the show, and that really concerns me, because that means it throws away a lot of the character arcs, a lot of the themes, a lot of that sort of stuff. And so that's how I'm sort of feeling about the show right now, is that I feel like they are genuinely going to be throwing a lot of stuff away. And so really I'm just here to see where things go and to see the end of it. And so if you guys are up for that, why don't we just get into it? Let's go. I've never been that, if you don't like, don't watch type of person, but I've always sort of wondered, like, why do people watch stuff that they hate? Like, why do people watch stuff that they don't like? And so this is kind of a new experience for me, because usually if I don't like something, I just drop it, right? Like, I just don't watch the show anymore, and I can't think of a specific example of that. Like, I usually like the stuff that I pick to watch and all that, but Netflix shows maybe, like, more live action stuff, like Riverdale. Like, I watched the first season of Riverdale, then never again type of thing, right? But I kind of understand it now, because I feel like that I just need to watch. Like, I feel like that I need to see how it all ends. And maybe that's just in the case of Neverland, just because I know that the last 2 episodes are on the horizon anyway. I don't know if that applies to other shows. But I think it's also the fact that you just grow such an attachment to something, and you just feel so invested in something, and so then to see it suddenly train wreck, it's like you can't look away. And so I feel like it's different. It's almost like you're sad for the potential of what it could have been, and so you stick around and watch it anyway, even if you don't like it, right? Oh! Wow, it's been such a long time! Oh, Phil! That at least makes me happy that it's been such a long time since we've seen them, and like, look at this new mom! Aren't they suspicious, though, that all the children are going? Uh-oh, Phil knows, though. Phil knows all of the bad things. Uh-oh. Hello, Sanju. At least Sanju gets to do something cool. Aw, okay. Yeah, at least they're doing cool stuff, and they get to kill some demons, alright? The bad demons. Ooh, Phil's gonna do something weird. Oh, they're wearing the clothes. The kids are infiltrating. Okay, that's kind of cool. That is kind of cool. I will say that. The kids dressed up and infiltrated into the group of the other kids. Oh, and they wouldn't notice. This is pretty cool. I will say, this is pretty cool. And like, to see all the kids' talents come into play, like the light plants and all that stuff. Okay, I do really like that. Even though I still feel like they're rushing so hard. Whoa! This is actually very nicely designed. I do like the design of this room. Oh, wow, that's so cool. Like, this may be the gate to transfer worlds, right? Oh, Phil! I'm so glad that they at least wrapped up Phil's plot line. That makes me happy. That they wrapped up all his plot stuff at least. Aww. This is so sweet. though. Even if she's not right now. Oh my god. This is actually kind of cool though to see Isabel just with a gun. Oh my god. Uh-oh. No, I think they're gonna shoot him, to be honest. I think Isabel's gonna turncoat and shoot him. And maybe the sisters are in on it. The moms are in on it. Ah! Isabel's turning! Oh my god! Yes! I'm happy to see it! See all the moms who were in on it! Yeah! We love to see it! We love to see it! Damn! Oh, damn! Oh, she still calls her mom, though, even after everything. Whoa. That's a little contrived, but okay. What about Soju and Majika, though? What if it's the people from the town? What if they're helping? Oh my god. This is like Beauty and the Beast, bro. All right. People's resistance. Okay, okay. That's kind of what I wanted, though. Yeah, it's the civilians. They're rising up against the royalty. Okay, okay. Again, I do think it was a little rushed, but okay. That means that they rallied the civilians. That Majika rallied everyone together. Damn, okay. Wow, so we are getting the civilian resistance. We're getting the people. The people are rising up. Good for them. Good for them. I love this old man. I gotta say, I do love this old man. Yep. Yep. Okay, okay, okay. I'm glad to see that that theme still persisted. Aww. And you'll get eaten, so you better come with us. Is that what she's saying? Could this man actually be redeemed? Even though, I mean, I guess in a sense, like, he's just a lost human too. Like, he doesn't want to get eaten either, and so that's why he's complied. So it kind of makes sense for her to offer it. Damn, even after everything this man did. Yeah, I guess that's it, guys. Well. All right, that was interesting. I did like some parts of it. So here's where I'm at with everything, I guess. I liked the stuff that happened, but not how it happened, if that makes sense. Like, in theory, I wanted the civilians to revolt forever and, like, to go against the royalty and the nobles and take down the system. Like, a lot of the stuff that I wanted to happen did happen, but I do think that it was, like, rushed a lot, that they basically, like, squished a lot of stuff into these last 2 episodes. And so on one hand, like, I'm happy that they didn't necessarily drop the plot points that I thought that they were going to, because I was like, okay, well, they only have 2 episodes left. How are they gonna work in the whole thing about, like, the civilians should fight against, like, the royalty system, and, like, the civilians should fight against the system, and then also the stuff with saving all the kids. Like, I thought that that plot line was gonna be abandoned because I was unsure about how the kids were going to be sent out, I guess. Like, last week I was like, oh, well, unless all the kids are being sent out together and, like, Phil and the other kids just happen to be among them, like, I don't see how that's possible, but that's what ended up happening, is that the kids that are Emma's family also happen to be amongst, like, the other kids from the other farms, right? And so I guess, like, they kind of solved that plot point that I was concerned about from last week. Right, and they did do, like, the civilians rise up against the nobles. They did do that, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, it was just so, like, they basically just rushed through it instead of having this whole build-up happen. And, like, it makes sense. Like, the things that happen in this episode, they do make sense, right? Like, a lot of these you know, a lot of the civilians, like a lot of the poor people, or like even the middle class demons, if you want to call it that, right? Like their biggest fear, like their biggest reason for eating humans is because of degeneration. It's not necessarily for sport, like maybe some of the richer humans, or like just because of the delicacy, like, you know what I mean? Like the delicacy of a big brain like the other demons. And so it always sort of made sense that the lower class demons would want to revolt eventually. Their main motivator for eating meat is just to not degenerate. Like they're just worried about survival. When you take that out of the equation, Norman does talk about, like, you know, would you like stop eating your favorite food if da 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 da, but ultimately I think it's to their understanding that like the humans are gonna try to escape. Either we, you know, we're with them and we deal with it, right, because they're gonna like succeed anyway, possibly, like that could have been their mindset, right, or we, you know, stay here and we suffer basically, right? And so I think that like, their whole mentality of the civilization, like of the people, is like, well, now we have the evil blood, we can't really complain because we wouldn't have this evil blood if it were not for the humans, and so ultimately we kind of owe them, so like just let them escape anyway, even if we do like the taste or whatever. We have had that conversation in other episodes, like some demons just like to eat humans and everything like that, and so I feel like that is basically like why they decided to revolt, is like, okay, well, we know the kids are escaping, we now have blood where we won't degenerate, the nobility are too preoccupied with this so they can't kill all of us, right? Like the king and stuff are too preoccupied with the like the whole lambda situation, so they won't be looking at us. We can spread it around and they can't kill all of us, right? They can't kill all of us like they did with the original evil-blooded people, right? And so at this point, like, you know, why not? If you can't beat them, join them, I guess, is their sort of mentality, right? Like that's how I sort of see them, is that yes, they do like the taste of humans, but ultimately the humans are now what are going to allow them to be like free from the system. Like the humans escaping, right, and the humans being the catalyst for Magica and all of that stuff, that is what is going to help them like escape at this point. And so I feel like that like makes sense why they're now revolting and all that stuff. Like the stuff in this episode makes sense. Like I think that the computer hacking stuff is kind of convenient, but yes, like hacking the system and like making the system go down, like the computer system, I mean, like it would make sense why then the bombs on like Isabella and the other moms wouldn't work anymore, because their computer, you know what I mean? Like when the network goes down, like when the internet goes down, you can't get on Wikipedia, like it's kind of the same thing, but with the bombs and like the signal of the bombs onto the computer system, you know, like you can't get onto the internet without any internet. It's kind of the same thing, but I feel like that, even though it makes sense, I just don't like how rushed it was. Like it feels very like convenient, even though I do understand how everything happened. I did like some stuff about this episode though. Like I liked how all the kids' talents came into play. Like, you know, the plant people like did all the plant stuff, right? Like making the hot air balloons, like again, that was like another talent like from the kids, because everybody was like, where did they get the hot air balloons? But like that was all of their, you know, their science and their learning. Like I'm pretty sure it was probably made out of a more like plant-based material, right? Like the basket, obviously, but then also like, you know, the cloth thingy, like I'm pretty sure that was probably from the plants as well. So like I like to see all of the kids' talents like coming into play for the final thing, but again, I just feel like the season as a whole was so rushed and they did everything so quickly, right? So that's where it kind of takes away from me. It's like, oh, well, okay, like it's kind of fun to see, like it's fun to see all of their talents come into play. I really like the reunion between Phil and Emma. I feel like that Phil probably had a more important role in the manga. Like not to say he doesn't have one now, but like there was this whole thing I watched a video on about like Phil kind of being like not the mastermind, but like, you know, that Phil is smarter than we give him credit for and he's gonna have a really big role. And you know, I guess they used some evidence like from season 1, but like it weren't spoiling the manga, like it was an anime only type theory, right? And so I really liked that idea, and it kind of happened, like it kind of happened in a way, but not necessarily like to the great extent, right? But I still like to see like Phil and Emma reunite. Like I thought that was a nice scene. You guys probably saw my reaction, probably included that. I guess the only other thing is like, I don't know, I guess my struggle is that I like all the ideas, but the execution is just so rushed, because it's so clear that they're just wrapping everything up, right? Like they're just trying to get through it all. They're trying to wrap everything up and get it over with. And so I feel like that these themes probably would have been a little bit more impactful in the actual manga, because at least then right? Like that they would make set, like it would be over a long period of time, where now it's just like, oh yeah, we got the civilians to rise up, we did this, we did that, right? Like, not saying that it's impossible, but you don't get the same emotional connection because it doesn't happen over the same long period of time. Like, everything's just going down in this one episode, right? I think that with the moms, I don't think that their betrayal is too fast. I think that Isabel was always sort of foreshadowed to not like the system. She just did what she needed to survive. And so to me, it makes sense like that the moms would no longer participate in the system if they knew that there was a chance of escaping, right? Because the only thing that's stopping them is the heart monitors, and the kids kind of took care of that. And so I don't see like, oh, why would the moms turn, like, why wouldn't you, right? It's just about like, you know, choosing the side that guarantees your survival. And at that point, like, Peter doesn't seem necessarily to be like the, you know, the winning side. And so why not betray him? You know, like, obviously things could still go badly, but I feel like that, first of all, like, Isabel's the grandma. And so she probably, like, you know, distributed the plan to all of them, because we do have Vincent call Ratri, and it's possible that Isabel was listening in on all of that. And I feel like that they would really understand, right? Like, they would understand that they were all chosen, right? Like Isabel, I feel like that they probably have a very similar experience to Isabel in that way. Like, they probably didn't want to be part of this any more than she does. They just did it for survival. And so if you can survive on a different team, why not turn? And so I feel like that is not necessarily that it doesn't make sense. It all makes sense to me. Like, everything that happened in this episode, some of the hot air balloon stuff, okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how they made the hot air balloon, like, that was a little, like, weird. But, like, everything makes sense to me. Like, I think that their plan was pretty smart to send in like decoy hot air balloons, and then, you know, those get taken down, and then have all of that stuff happen. I like the usage of the wells. I do wish that that was foreshadowed a little more, that the wells had that kind of possibility, because like there was really nothing pointing to that. I was a little surprised that nobody tried to go down in the well before, you know? So that way, I mean, even if you did, like, what would you go do? You would talk to the other kids in the other houses and climb out the well, right? Like, I don't know, like, that seems kind of weird, actually, now that I think about it. Like, how would you use the well? But yeah, they didn't really foreshadow that the wells were like interconnected like that. I kind of wish that they did, or maybe I just don't remember, I don't know. But yeah, I do like the scene with Phil reuniting. I kind of like how Sanju and Majika like played a role in all of it, but I do feel like we're missing a lot of things. Like, why does Majika have this blood in the first place? Why is Majika like special in the first place? Is Majika nobility, and will we find that out next episode? What's still going on with the king? Because yeah, the civilians are revolting. I guess next episode maybe they'll kill the king. I guess that'll be the whole situation. Like, they'll kill the king happily ever after. I do really feel like we're getting into like the civilians will revolt, they'll kill the king, they'll just live life, you know, in kind of a utopia type situation where like nobody's hungry and nobody needs to eat humans anymore because the blood is spread and everyone can just like live and like, you know, live off the land, I guess, like, and farm the resources that they have, and it's utopia over there. But I kind of would be interested in seeing like how the human world receives these new humans and what happens with all of that, right? Maybe we will kind of see that next episode, even if it's in a very rushed way. But I'm sort of curious, I guess, on that front. Like, we know that the demons have accepted this, but what about the humans? I guess, like, the humans would know, like, from Emma that they don't need to live in fear because the demons can now survive without humans, that maybe there won't be conflict between demons and humans anymore. But yeah, I sort of wonder, and, like, could it even be possible, like, that the portal doesn't, like, close off after? Like, what if Emma comes in to visit sometime and it's, like, demon utopia, woohoo, right? Like, both of them come to visit each other and everything, and the worlds are connected and there's like peace or something. I don't know. But yeah, I do feel like that a lot of it, like, they rushed through a lot of it. It does make sense, but I don't necessarily agree with the execution of all of it. It was kind of exciting to watch. Like, it was exciting to watch Isabel turn. Like, I'm very happy to see that in her character. I do feel like I wish we got a little more time with her, but I wouldn't say that it's against her character, right? She's always like, don't misunderstand, I've always, like, you know, done what I've needed to survive. Like, your plan was just convenient for me. Like, that's how she talks to them, and I feel like that's okay. But I would wonder, like, what's that other thing that Peter promised her, because Peter promised her, like, you'll have your freedom and you'll have X. Was X to be with Ray? Like, it seems like they sort of dropped that and didn't explain it, so I would like to see that get explained. And so, like, was that, you know, her promising that she would be with that boy, right? Like, is that guy still around? Like, what are they gonna do about, like, the male humans that were around as well? Like, are they gonna escape too? Like, where are they, right? Because obviously we see them break into the shelter, so are there still, like, you know, men? Are there still men that need to escape through the portal as well? Will they escape? Like, what will that whole thing be, right? And so, yeah, I liked some of the parts of this episode. I just feel like the rest of the show, it's getting to be very rushed, and, like, I wouldn't say that it's the best writing I've ever seen. So I like the moments, like, I like the idea, and I like the themes. I like the, I guess, the essence. Like, I like the essence of what it could have been, but to see it rushed like this, it's kind of sad. It's not worth an analysis anyway. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I kind of feel 50-50. Like, reaction-wise, it's very cool and still emotional to see these moments, but then when I think about it, like, in writing-wise and, like, execution and everything, it just seems like they're trying to get rid of the show as fast as possible, whereas I feel like, you know, reading the manga, there may have been, like, more meaningful and impactful build-up. And so, yeah, that's just basically how I feel about the show, I guess, is, like, I know I keep saying everything's, like, rushed and stuff, and you guys are probably sick of that, because it's like, yeah, Cal, like, it's rushed, like, the last 2 episodes, like, they're rushing to the end, right? And so, I don't know, but it does impact the viewing experience still, even though I know and have gone in with the expectation that it's gonna be that way. But I do like the aspects to it, and if anything, it's kind of sad because you see what could have been, like, an amazing show, and I guess you see how much, like, a lot of the time budget and I guess other factors, right, like studio factors, like corporate factors, like, get in the way of, like, true art, because I feel like that the show could have been, like, more artistic in that way, right, like, to get the themes across and to execute, because, like, in essence, like, this show, like, has so many good themes, you know, like, rising up against the system and all of that stuff, but I feel like it's buried under, like, all of this rushing, right? And so, yeah, that's basically how I feel about it. Maybe I have considered, because you guys have asked, like, I do kind of want to read the manga and do some sort of analysis or discussion or reaction to the manga. I don't know how that would work, though. I've never seen anyone do a manga reaction, so, like, do I just sit here and read and go, oh my god, right? Do I just, like, say all my thoughts out loud? Because, like, sometimes when I read, I will be like, oh shit, like, I read the Ruby book like that, right? But you guys, I don't know, like, it sounds kind of weird in concept, but yeah, that's basically all I have to say. I don't really have anything else to add. It's kind of like this tie between, or this, like, pulling between, I liked this, and I like how they did this, and all the kids had Tide and a Shine, and I liked this moment, and I like this defection, and I like all the moms defecting, and I kind of like that they're offering Ratri an escape, right? Because ultimately he kind of, you know, was doing what he had to do to survive and stay in his position too, and so it kind of makes sense that maybe he'd, you know, turn, like, maybe he'd turn against the farms too and just go with them ultimately. And so, yeah, I think that that's pretty rushed, though. Like, I think that, you know, his whole mindset changing is pretty rushed, but at the same time, like, the core is human survival, and at this point, like, for Ratri, it's probably like, well, if, you know, if I'm not with you, like, I'm against you, and I'll stay here and get eaten anyway, and so maybe he does it more begrudgingly than an actual change of heart, right? But I just feel like that there was so much that was sort of rushed through it, right? Like, Minerva, like, actually, like, what James went around and did, a lot of that was sort of rushed and ignored as well, and so I feel like that's kind of sad that, like, a lot of the mysteries, right? What did the amulet do? Is that going to be useful? Will we ever know? What will the amulet do? Right? Like, there's so many things that were set up that are kind of, like, flat, like, we never saw, I guess, the royalty, maybe we will next episode, but yeah, so it's just a lot of, like, all of the rush stuff has impacted stuff like that, like, what does the amulet do? What was, like, the deep history of Minerva, right? Like, I would like to see all of that stuff, and we're not really going to, so yeah, that's basically it from me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my little talk about the episode. I think these are probably more digestible than my big analysis anyway, but yeah, I just don't feel like doing analysis anymore for this show, so it's really more of, like, a little discussion, little review and rant type situation. But yeah, that is all from me, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!